Springs Radio Real Estate with Cheryl Garlock, a show about all things real estate and home related in Colorado Springs and Colorado, covering topics like buying and selling a home warranties, appraisals, how to stage your home, structural engineering, construction, financing, foreclosure, and more. So whether you're looking to upgrade your home, downsize your home, buy a rental property, or simply just need more information on real estate, then you've come to the right place. And remember, you can always use your mouse to buy a house at coloradospringsbesthomes.com. Now, here's your host, Cheryl Garlock.
Hey, and thank you for joining me. It's Cheryl Garlock with Springs Radio Real Estate and Colorado Front Range Properties. You know, my very special guest today is Daryl Harrison with Stewart Title. Daryl, welcome to the show today.
Cheryl, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
I love having you here. You know, Daryl represents a title industry, and he's going to be sharing with us some information today about title insurance and why that's important in a real estate transaction. And it's coming more and more to the surface, as you might say, transparency. You know, you guys love that word, don't you? Transparency is coming out in our industry as well as so many other industries. So that's something you want to be a little bit more cognizant of when you're conducting a real estate transaction is title insurance, the title company selection, the whole process, and Daryl's going to help us with that. Now, I was actually checking some information about the market, the real estate market here. I got a blog from the folks at, who was this from here? Let's see. Oh, Keeping Current Matters, one of my favorite ones. And they were talking about, you know, people who might be sitting on the fence about buying a home, Daryl.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is that they said that a homeowner's net worth is 36 times greater than that of a renter. Now, really, this really actually came from the Federal Reserve. They conduct a survey of consumer finances every 3 years, and they just released their stats. Here's what they said, and I think you want to soak this in a little bit. The average American family has a net worth of $81,200. Okay. Of that, now this is an average American family, all ages, all demographics, all everything, right? Of that net worth, 61.4% or $49,856 of it is in home equity. So basically $50,000 in home equity of that net worth there. So that means, you know, that's basically they got $30,000 in cash someplace or some sort of thing. A homeowner's net worth, though, is 36 times greater than that of a renter because the average homeowner has a net worth of $194,500, while the average net worth of a renter is $5,400.
That's a big difference.
A tremendous difference. So they basically concluded that home ownership is still a great way for a family to build wealth in America. And we know that it's true. It is one of the few places where you can actually do that, and that's really important. Now, in speaking about that and thinking forward about buying a home, you need to want to be paying attention to the market that we have, particularly here in Colorado Springs, because you know, you're in a really good position. We're not as hot to trot, you might say, as Denver. You know, Denver's been up, I heard on the news the other day, 34%.
Wow.
You know, 34%. Now, I don't think that's over the last 1 year, but I do think that, having lived there and worked there and all that jazz there and knowing the market pretty well, I would say that's over about the last, 1.5, 2 years there. That's still steep. That is really steep. And that sounds great if you happen to be doing market timing and you're selling things just great and fine and dandy. It's really not good in the long run, though, because you can't have markets continually to increase like that. Because I think you had said it earlier there, it creates a downside.
It does. And hopefully you'll start forcing some buyers down here in this market.
It will, because we know that the Springs market trails the Denver market there because cost of living is just, as a matter of fact, a little bit less expensive there. But it does mean, though, that you definitely want to kind of stay focused and get focused on that idea about thinking about buying while you can. And let me tell you, I bring this up because when you have markets, and it's not just Denver, there's a lot of major metro markets across the country that are going up the way they are. And when they're going up at that higher rate, what usually happens?
They raise interest rates.
They raise interest rates. Now, do you know why they raise interest rates? There's a number of reasons, but the biggest reason is to curb inflation. And that's what they're going to be doing. And the Feds, the Board of Governors just met, and they are actually talking about pushing those rates up higher sooner than later.
Right.
And you really want to be aware of that, because if you kind of put home buying on the back burner and you get down to, say, 2016, 2017, you're going to find out that the average interest rate now will have climbed up to, say, 7 or 8%. You don't want that. Take advantage of the cheapy money today.
Absolutely.
You know what you need to do? You need to call me, 719-321-7600. I'm going to tell you more about how you can save thousands today, and instead of waiting for tomorrow. Hey, stay tuned for more from the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for your dream house or your first house, Cheryl Garlock and Colorado Front Range Properties can make your dream a reality. What others say.
Cheryl understood my needs and focused on the properties that most interest me. She helped me to determine which property would be worth the investment of a lifetime and suited my needs best.
As a former teacher, Cheryl has a heart to educate and protect your interests. Call Cheryl today, 719-321-7600. Online, ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. So glad you could join us today. My very special guest is Daryl Harrison with Stewart Title. And welcome to the show, Daryl.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm glad. You know, we were just talking about the rental market, or the housing market in general here, and we're talking about people, you know, sometimes procrastinating.
Right.
I have a saying for you guys. You cannot rent your way to success. In order to succeed, you have to own. And let me tell you, that is ever so true. History does show that. So, you know, my daughter is a prime example of that there, because they had to let a house go. And over 2 years, in the same 2 years where the market picked up that steam, this was up in Denver, they could have made $39,000 sleeping in something.
Right.
$39,000. And you're in your 30-something, right there, early 30s or late 20s. That's pretty good money.
That's nice.
I'll take it. I wish I'd gotten that earlier when I was young like that. But anyway, get started while you can get started. Now, you guys, I have an announcement here. We are moving the show. We're moving the show format and location. We're going to start doing podcasts. This is going to be allowing us to go ahead and zero in on more explanation, more detail about the topics you want to hear. I want to know what topics you would like to hear more information about. All you got to go ahead and do is call me, 719-321-7600, or go to ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. Drop me an email. Our contact information is right there. But beginning in early October, we're going to shift over to the podcast arena, you might say there. We're going to be moving the show to the iTunes directory. You can find us on YouTube. Just put in Springs Radio Real Estate, or just go to ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. You'll catch all the shows right there that we have now and going forward. So we want to hear from you. Tell us what you would like to know more about there, so we'll give you more focused information. Now, Daryl, let's talk a little bit about title insurance in the real estate world.
Excellent.
Yeah, it is. You know, because a lot of times, you know, consumers, they don't really know about title insurance. And I have a thing about understanding the major players in the real estate world and the transaction. Did you guys know you cannot really close a deal at all without title being involved? They're the most important party, because you know why? They convey the deed, the piece of paper that says you own something. And let's tell them how that works, Daryl.
Absolutely. Not only are we, recording the deed, so to speak, that we do a title search to begin the process.
And that's going to be really important, especially these days, because, when people default on their wonderful debts that they have, well, a good person actually goes ahead and files liens against any property that they own.
Well, in the state of Colorado, they don't even have to file a lien on the property. If they have a judgment against a creditor and they own property, by default, that attaches to the property.
Oh, wow. So they can avoid a second step there.
Absolutely.
It just automatically does default and falls against the property there.
Yeah, they will have foreclosure rights, on a property that they have a judgment against a creditor who owns that property.
Right. So that's true. So it means that the judgmentor, or the the creditor. Okay,
Right.
it's really would have rights to go ahead and conduct a foreclosure. That means, but they're in somewhat of a succession. They have to cure whatever the other liens are ahead of them.
Yeah, and I think that's important because when they come to the title insurance company to handle a transaction, not only do we look for a legitimate property description that lays out the property lines, easements, etc. We're going to look at what liens are filed against the property, but that we also then have to do a search against the individuals that own the property and make sure that there's no outstanding judgments and so forth against the person.
There's another thing about title insurance too, because we're talking right now here about the property owner.
Correct.
Okay, but you also do a name search, don't you, where buyers are concerned sometimes, and that can show up on a title commitment?
We do. We do a name search on a buyer if there's a lender.
If there's a lender.
On a cash deal, we're not concerned about that.
Right,
because if there's a lender, any judgments against that buyer will become of record because we're a date and time priority state. Any judgment against the buyer will have a priority to the lender's deed of trust, and we need to address that.
Okay, that's a good point too, because actually our real estate contracts, the way they're written, they talk about the buyer's protection against the seller's title work there as far as liens and things like that are concerned. It doesn't really do a good job of the flip side, and that's important to look at there because you need to be paying attention to what kinds of judgments, if there are any, against a buyer. You kind of figure that a would-be buyer wouldn't be buying a home if they got judgments, but you'd be so surprised at how many people think that they don't find out, what their past history is. And it is.
Not all judgments get put onto the credit report, so the lender may not even have an idea that judgment is even outstanding.
Exactly there. So, when you're the seller of the property, in as much as it's important for the buyer to go ahead and look at the title history, make sure they get free and clear title to the property subject only to their own loan. That's really all that they want there. Okay, but it's also important for the seller to make sure that the buyer doesn't have any judgments against them that surface up on the title documents either. And because that can stall a closing.
It can stall it, absolutely. We have to put together a very large effort to clear same name claims that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of effort that gets put in behind the scenes in creating this title search and a commitment to issue a policy.
Now, speaking of names, Daryl, in fact, I have a client I was just talking to last night about this. I said, well, so how do you want to take your title? And they're first-time home buyers. Well, I don't know. What do you mean? What's your name? And you go, Chris. Okay, well, is it Chris? Christopher, what? And so if you have a common name like Smith, okay, do you use I usually try to tell people, do what you got on your driver's license, generally speaking there. But do you do, say, Christopher Allen Smith or Christopher A. Smith or Chris Smith or Christopher Smith? It's important. Can we address this?
Yeah, I mean, the more information that we have to help us, the better. I mean, so a middle initial is definitely helps when it comes to looking at the judgments that are filed against common names.
Exactly, especially common names there, because when you do have those judgments that come up there, they play kind of a matching system, so to speak, and you have to get an affidavit from the buyer that it's not them, but then
Correct.
They have to prove it. Your good word is not quite good enough, guys. This is a document-covered paper world, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And we hope that most people have patience and understanding with us and knowing that a lot of these liens do not apply to the particular buyer or seller.
Right.
But we have to go through the research in order to make sure that that's the case.
And they do. And you know why, you guys? Because they insure it. They absolutely insure it. Daryl, what's the phone number everyone can call you at if they have questions?
719-578-1100.
I cannot recommend Daryl and Stewart Title enough. They do an excellent job. So give me a call, 719-321-7600, and we'll talk to you more about what you need to know when you're buying real estate. Now, stay tuned for more from the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. We've got Property Showcase. We'll be right back.
Education, the key to success in life. Red Rocks Institute of Colorado Springs can give you that key. Classes, events, workshops, and webinars. This can help you learn and give you a platform to teach your passion. Red Rocks Institute offers a wide variety of classes of interest from money management, real estate, investments, mortgage, insurance, retirement planning, and more. Red Rocks Institute, an adult education center designed to empower people with knowledge. For more information, go to redrocksinstitute.com.
It's a big, big house with lots and lots of...
Hey, welcome back to the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. My very special guest today is Daryl Harrison with Stewart Title. Daryl, it is so great to have you joining me on the show.
Love being here.
Well, I love doing this with you because, you understand real estate. You've been doing it for how long?
Oh, more than 20 years? We'll leave it at that. Okay.
I know how you feel like that, saying those numbers. I'm just saying, okay, I'm going to the 30 plus, but, I saw somebody else who had a 40 some odd years, and I thought, really? I don't think that sounds very good, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
I'm going to be okay if I'm telling you that I'm doing it at 40 years. Okay.
Okay, that's true. We're not walking around with canes. There's a lot to be said for these people who have years and years and years of experience.
Yes.
And if they can couple with a little bit of technology and think like the millennials, it's even better.
Yep.
So guess what? I know a couple people that do that. They're sitting right here.
Absolutely.
Daryl does it. I do it. Hey, you guys, I got to tell you, if you're thinking about buying a home, go to ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com, ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com, and use your mouse to find a house. Click on the Search Homes tab there. Going to give you direct access to the Realtors MLS. That's what you want. That is the best source, most reliable, most accurate, real time. Every other feed thing out there, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, they all get their stuff from the Realtors MLS.
Yes, they do.
We got some issues about that in our industry. But nevertheless, the point is the real accurate data is always in the Realtors MLS. So go to ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com, get real-time information, accurate stuff right there, and click on the Search Homes tab. And if you are thinking about buying a home, you haven't bought one, we talked about that earlier here today, but there's a home buyer's guide there. Just go to the bottom of the panoramic image on the home page there, and it is called The Home Buying Process, Keys to Your Success. Great guide for home buyers. It's a free download. You want to go ahead and do that. Now, also be aware that we are changing the show. We're making a new format, a new location. We're going to be taking it online. Stay in step with us at ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. It's going to go on the iTunes directory, YouTube, and a few other places. I haven't figured all that out yet, but I'm working on that. But we'll be doing this in a podcast format so we can spend more time talking about the specific topics you want to know more about. Now, anyway, we'll be doing that in early October. I've got 3 properties real quick I want to go ahead and share with you. This one is in central Colorado Springs here, kind of the north downtown area. Absolute gorgeous 2-story Victorian, isn't it, Daryl?
Nice.
Oh, it's priced at $365, built in 1890. It is absolutely stunning on the inside. What a charmer. 2-story home, over 2,100 square feet, a garage. I think there's a cottage with this one here, but the main house has got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it has got a fabulous courtyard. Did you see that?
I did, and I'm infatuated with the kitchen, actually.
Absolutely. Okay, then I've got another one here for you guys. This one's over in the northwest section, over in the Comstock Village area there. This one's built in 1979. Over 2,500 square feet, priced at $298,300. It's got a 2-car attached garage, 3 bathrooms, 4 bedrooms. Really a nice, clean home. Big yard. This is really kind of cool here because this was built in 1979. And, here's how the yards work. Okay, when you bought the home in 1950s, 60s, and 70s, you got real yards, real land to play in, grow a garden, throw a swing set up.
Build a football field.
Yeah. When the 80s and 90s and the 2000s come in, we got to postage-size stamp lots. That's just how it works. Okay, my last one, I got to tell you about this one. If you're looking for your own personal private oasis on 2/3 of an acre, check this one out. This is up in the Woodmore Tri-Lakes area, priced at $634,900. Built in 1993, featuring nearly 5,600 square feet, 3-car attached garage, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. absolutely gorgeous. You know, this is a really cool wooded setting too, isn't it, Daryl?
It is nice.
And it's not too many trees. It's just the right number, so lots of sunlight comes in there. Give me a call, 719-321-7600. Hey, and remember again, use your mouse to find a house at ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. Hey, stay tuned for more from the Springs Radio Real Estate Show, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about Move Up Mania. We'll be right back.
Are you planning to sell your home in today's competitive market? Cheryl Garlock and Colorado Front Range Properties can get the job done. Here's what others are saying.
Cheryl did an incredible job of creating a virtual tour of our house and property, which was very appealing and professionally done. She was in constant communication and offered very sound and professional advice.
As a former teacher, Cheryl has a heart to educate and protect your interests. Call Cheryl today, 719-321-7600. Online, ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Springs Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. And you know, my very special guest today has been and is still Daryl Harrison at Stewart Title. Daryl, thank you so much for being a part of this show.
It's always a pleasure, Cheryl. Thank you.
I'm always glad to have you. You know, I want to reiterate something here in case you guys didn't catch it earlier, but we're changing the location and format of this show here come early October. We're going to take it to a podcast format because, you know, during a half-hour show, we can only talk about so many things, so much time, so to speak, on the radio. But by doing podcasts, though, we're going to be able to zero in and focus in on more of the topics that we know you want to hear there. And by the way, we want your input. So all you got to do is shoot me an email. Just visit my website at ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. My contact info is there. If you've got a topic you want to hear something about, let us know about that. But be watching for the Springs Radio Real Estate Show to continue by going to ColoradoSpringsBestHomes.com. And you'll also be finding it on the iTunes directory, YouTube, and some other directories there as we move forward here. So this is going to be great for us to be able to zero in on those topics that we don't always have enough time for, you know. But anyway, the other thing here is that we're going to be talking about Move Up Mania here. And this is like, should you be doing it? You know, a lot of people have been sitting on the fence for a long time, not knowing whether they should go ahead and move or they wanted to. And of course, we know that's what's happening in a lot of other metropolitan areas. And, you know, Colorado Springs is not as highly populated as, say, some places like Denver, Chicago, you know, Las Vegas, Phoenix, all that jazz. But people in those areas there are definitely making the moves up. And I think a lot of people here want to. They're just not so sure whether they should or they shouldn't. So that begs the question, you need to call me to talk about it. So that's 719-321-7600. Well, let's talk about some of the things, though, that you might want to consider, okay, if you're thinking about moving up there. And sometimes moving up is a good idea, and sometimes it's not. So we want to give you the real skinny on it that's pertinent to you. So one of the things you want to think about is how close are you to being free and clear?
Right.
You know, so, you know, some people like to have that dream where the house is all paid off. Now, that's a good thing, depend. It also can be a not so good thing because then you don't have a tax write-off. You know?
It depends on, how are you going to use your money? I mean, there's no question.
Exactly there. So, you know, you want to go ahead and take a look at that. Now, it's also a great time to make that move up and say if you've got your personal residence here that you already have and you don't own investment property, keep that as an investment property and then go forward and rent that thing out.
Right.
We know we got high rental demand in this area.
Oh, yeah.
So it does come along with a few headaches, I'll admit that, okay? But if you learn how to manage that, you know, you'll do pretty well there. Now then, the other thing is you want to ask yourself, do you want to stay in your existing neighborhood? Now, some of you really do, and some of you really don't. So change is good. It's kind of like a new chapter in your life, you know? But if your kids are young still and they got all their friends or got your school activities there, you might really want to stay in the same neighborhood and still move up. And the next one is, do you really need more space? You know, if you've been living in that same house for a long time, and especially if you have children, Boy, there's no faster way to accumulate stuff than having children.
Yeah, square footage is not always the reason for moving up.
No, but it can be.
Yes.
If you really do need more space, because it's growing, that family is growing, and I don't mean just in terms of the number of people, but the requirements, the spatial needs. If you've got a kid in a band type of thing and they have a musical, you might need a little space for them to do their own little thing there. So that's an important thing to consider there. And then also, the big thing is also consider how much can you reasonably afford to increase your payment.
Right.
Even if you have a lot of equity in your home, the truth is if you're going to move up, you're usually going to move up to a little bit bigger, better house type of thing. Maybe not even bigger, maybe even smaller in a downsizing, but maybe a better location. So you might still have something of a mortgage on that, even if you pay a lot of cash down. And is that the right thing for you to do? These are the things that we all discuss and we analyze. Isn't that right, Daryl?
Well, yeah, the amenities are very important when you're looking at that.
Absolutely. So, give me a call at 719-321-7600 and we can talk more about that. Now, if you are thinking about selling your home, I got to go ahead and tell you guys, there's a great book at, guess where? Where do you think they can find that great free ebook, Daryl? At my website,
At
right?
your website.
Right, Colorado Springs, besthomes.com. And it's called Tips for Surviving Your Home Sale. It's a guide for home sellers. It's a free ebook, free download. You guys want to go ahead and take advantage of that. And then also, I want to tell you, I'm introducing a brand new program here because I'm looking to the horizon where I think the market here is going to be coming, it's going to open up a little bit as next year rolls along here. So I've got a discount program that I'm offering sellers. Now, the property does have to qualify. It's not for every seller. It's not going to work for everybody. But it's a great thing to take advantage of and think about saving some dollars in the marketing. We want to help you save money where you can save money. And if the market is good for you and working for you, then that's what we want to go ahead and do. So you want to ask me about that, how we can help you save money with the discount program, or maybe you should still go with the traditional real estate approach there. I can offer you both services. You choose, okay? So 719-321-7600, and thank you so much for being our guest, and keep checking us out at coloradospringsbesthomes.com as we move Springs Radio Real Estate online.
You've been listening to Springs Radio Real Estate, the show that covers all things real estate and home related in Colorado. Go to coloradospringsbesthomes.com to sign up for special offers and events. You can also listen to past shows, read educational articles, and find links to all your home and real estate needs. Cheryl would love to hear from you. If you have a topic you would like covered or have a question, email info@coloradospringsbesthomes.com.